Hello YouTube, it's DsChroniclesTho, and it's that time of the week again. So I'm about to get into another part of my story, continue with the whole saga. And then per usual, I'm going to do my little recap beforehand of what happened last week, and then we'll get into it. But before we get into that, I just want to do a quick little shout out. So shout outs to the homie Rocio. She actually knows somebody who makes these things, and she had them make me a turtle because I like turtles. What can I say? I fucks with turtles. I fucks with turtles pretty hard. So that was super dope. Thank you for that. I'm definitely going to put this around my room. Have it roam free. So again, thank you. Alright, now for the recap of last week. Dang, what happened last week? What happened last week? Ah, that's right. Your boy wasn't doing too hot. So basically, Jessica was like, yo, I'm trying to be single for the summer. And I was like, that shit's cool, whatever. And I decided to try and pursue her best friend Lacey, who I have a big thing for, and that didn't go as planned. I thought that was gonna be super easy. I thought she was gonna be like, yeah, I'm feeling you, you feeling me, and it turned out she told me to fuck off, and yeah, that's where we left off. So we're gonna get into it right now. Alright, so Lacey rejects my dumb ass, but I decide, you know what, this is not gonna be the end for me, right? So I'm thinking, what can I do to get this back, And while I'm thinking about it, I realize, you know what, even though she did reject me, it's not like she said, don't ever talk to me again, right? Like, she didn't, cut off communication between me and her. So I thought that must mean at least some part of her would be open to this, right? So I decided, I'm just going to stay persistent with it. So the summer goes on, and we're talking again, everything like that. Everything's fine, everything's normal. But periodically, I would bring the topic up again, see if I'm making any headway, And then again, she would say the same thing over and over, like, no, I'm not really about that, blah, 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 right? So the summer keeps going, summer keeps progressing, but now we're about a week away from school starting, my sophomore year, and this time something a little different happens when I bring it up. This time she tells me how, it's really shitty because me and Jessica aren't even really good friends anymore. And then she started telling me how the whole summer they had hung out twice, and even then Jessica was being really shady the whole time. And whenever Lacey would try and text her or call her to hang out, she would just, either she was always busy, or she would blow her off, or she would just ignore her texts or her calls or anything like that. And she was also saying how even during the school year, freshman year, as the year kept going on, Jessica would become more and more distant. She would stop really hanging out with her, and she would spend more time with the new friends that she made at the high school where I'm at. And I was saying how that is pretty shitty, because especially because you guys were best friends and everything like that. And I told her, I'm just saying yo, we should start dating right now. All I'm doing is just saying let's just hang out. That's literally all I was trying to do. I just want to hang out, and if we hang out and shit's weird, we can just drop it right there. It's it's not like we're not friends right now. So if shit is weird, we can just go back to living how it is. Really what I'm trying to do is figure out if it would be better if we did more than that, And then so I guess she kind of decided you know what, fine, I'm just gonna go ahead and do it. So by this time school had already started, right? We're maybe a week or two into school right now, and we decided yeah, finally, it was finally she would agree to hang out with me, and it was gonna be on a school day. And it actually worked out pretty good because, so we do go to different high schools like I mentioned before, and my school got out a little bit before her school does, and her school actually isn't that far away from mine. So my sister was going to be picking me up after school that day, and I had asked my sister oh, I want to hang out with my friend, she goes to a different school, can we go over there to pick her up too? And then my sister was like, yeah, that's cool, that's fine. So we drive over there, and when we get there, I call Lacey, I'm like, yeah, I'm here. Where are you? And then I described to her what car my sister has and everything like that. And she goes, oh yeah, I see you guys, so I'll walk over to you. So then we hang out, and she's walking over, and I still fucking remember what she was wearing that day. It's so funny. She was wearing, it was almost like a sundress, She didn't have like shorts underneath it, but it was kind of like she was wearing like a sundress over it, and it was reddish. It was like a reddish orange color, but it was more like a little more red than orange. But it was like bright though, right? And then she had like pink, pink flowers, pink flowers like printed all over the sundress. And then her hair was straight, and she was like looking tan and shit. Oh my god, dude, she was looking so fucking hot. Anyways, so she walked over to the car, and then she got in, she sat down, she was saying hi, and I like introduced her to my sister and stuff like that, and she said hi to me and everything. And then we're both in the back seat, right? On some like Uber shit. And so my sister was driving, and like the thing that was different was the fact that, so before, every time I had hung out with Lacey, it was always because I was dating Jessica. So I never really looked at her like anything, you know? Like I just like stopped myself from doing that. But this time when we're hanging out, like it was actually like, I don't know, it was a different environment. So I got very nervous because she really is attractive. So I froze up, like, and it's funny because I don't really freeze up like that. Like generally, like I do get nervous and stuff like that, but I don't actually freeze up when I'm trying to talk to somebody. So I didn't say shit the entire car ride back to my house. I did not say anything to her, and she was just like looking out the window, looking fucking amazing. And then I was just sitting there like twiddling my thumbs, like I didn't know what to fucking do. So then finally we get out of the car because we get to the house and everything, and then I'm like, oh yeah, we can go hang out in my room, right? So we go to my room, and the night before, I had cleaned my room because I was like, I'm gonna have a girl over, like I don't want my room to be looking bogus or anything like that, right? So I cleaned it up, and then we walk in, and the first thing she says is how, oh, it's so funny because my room is also dirty, just like yours. And and I was like, oh yeah, we both have dirty rooms, that's cool, that's something in common. But in my head I was like, man, what the fuck? I just cleaned this shit, how is it still dirty? Oh man. So then we just sit down on the bed, and then we're just talking, and I didn't really have anything planned to do because I kind of figured, like, you know, I'm pretty creative, I'll think of something on the spot, right? But I didn't know, like, I couldn't think of shit. But luckily for me, like she wasn't nervous, right? Like she had nothing to be scared of. So she started talking, and then the conversation started going from there. And then we ended up just sitting on my bed for several hours, like literally just talking. But I remember it was so much fun. Like it was so much fun. It was so entertaining just to talk for that. Like the entire time we were just talking, and then finally I remember, I think she brought it up. She was saying how, oh, you know, you never even like showed me around the entire house. And I realized, like, oh damn, like yeah, that's my bad, like I was tripping. Let me show you around the house, right? So the way my house is set up, it's a split level. So as soon as you walk in the house, like either walk up the stairs to like the upper floor, or walk down the stairs to the lower floor. And my room is on the lower floor. So I was like showing her around, like, oh, you know, this is the downstairs living room, this is the laundry room, like the bathroom. Then we went upstairs, and then so there's the kitchen, you know, upstairs living room, like rooms and all that stuff, right? And then we're going back down to my room. And then she would like notice like another room that was next to mine. And I was like, oh yeah, actually that's my brother's room. I forgot to show you that one. So my brother wasn't at the house at the time. And then like I like go over there and I show her. And at that point in time, like his whole room was, he liked to collect a lot of the things for Spider-Man. So he had like a bunch of posters and comic books and like collectibles and figurines and like everything like all over his walls, his shelves, like everything. It was like a bunch of stuff for Spider-Man everywhere. And Lacey was like, oh, like she was like interested in it, right? So she was like, oh damn, that's cool. So she like walked in, and she's like looking around, everything like that. And so she's looking at one wall, and I'm looking at a different wall. So I'm kind of like facing this way, and she's like over here. And then we ended up like backing up into each other. And then when I looked over to like, cause I like bumped her, I thought like I knocked her over, something like that. Like I like grabbed her, right? And when I did that, like our eyes kind of like locked onto each other. And I just knew, like a light bulb went off in my head. I was like, damn, this is your in. Like this is your chance to kiss. Like you have to nail this first kiss. Because also the night before when I was cleaning my room, I had gone over like the scenario of us kissing. And I was trying to think like how it had to be. Because the problem is, let's say we kiss, right? and it's like whack as fuck. Like it's whack as fuck. It's whack as fuck, right? But maybe she wants to like be nice and still like see where it could go, okay? But then imagine Jessica bringing her fat ass head over here to like trying to guilt trip Lacey into like, yo, you need to stop talking to him, blah blah blah. That's not cool. If it's a whack ass kiss, then Lacey might be like, you know what, shit was garbage anyways. Like, you're right, I'm good on that. But if it's like if it's good, then maybe she might be like, you know what, he's actually pretty dope. You can fuck off, right? So like I got really nervous because even though I knew I had to kiss her, like I had to make sure that it was gonna be good, right? So I'm like, I can't just do no normal shit. Like in my head, I'm thinking like, I can't just do like a normal ass kiss, right? Like it's gotta be a little extra. And I'm not talking about like no like tango dip like fucking shit like that, but it gotta be like maybe like a little bit more, right? So I'm like quickly I realized, you know what, my brother's bed is like directly behind her legs. So I like put one hand on her waist and I put like my other hand like on her shoulder, like on her back, and I like walk her kind of like a half step backwards, so that way the bed is like right up against like her legs, and then I lean her back so her back is resting on the bed and her legs are like just like hanging off a little bit, and then I lean over and I fucking go for it and I kiss her. And I remember thinking like, damn, this shit is good. Like, it's funny because like, I mean, I had kissed girls before that. Like it wasn't a thing. Like I had kissed a bunch of girls before, and it wasn't like we were making out or anything like that, because I kind of felt like I'm not gonna go like overboard on the first kiss, like just because I gotta feel out the situation, right? And in the moment it felt like just like a peck type of shit would have been good, right? So that's what I went for. So, but I mean, like I said, I'd kissed other girls before, like with pecks and shit. Like it was never anything serious. So the fact that like I was getting like fucking hyped over this like was just like super different. But it was pretty cool. It was pretty cool, right? So so we kiss, and then I like get up and I like help her, like I like lift her back up too, so she's standing up again. And I noticed that she was smiling, so I was like, yes, like I got the fucking seal of approval. Like there's gotta be a hint. There's gotta be some inclination that the shit was good, right? And then I mean, obviously looking back, she could have just been faking it for the sake of faking it. But at that time, I was like, that's it. I'm in. It's good, right? So like we finished up the rest of the day, like we're just hanging out, we're just talking, all this other stuff, and I ended up taking her home. Well, I mean, like my sister dropped her off at her house and everything like that, and then we go to sleep and we're just talking, like everything was going like super fucking good, like everything, like just the whole day was just so great, man. Oh man, it was anyways, so I go to sleep, and then I remember thinking like, damn, this was a good ass day. Unfortunately though, that was like gonna be the last good ass day for a fucking while, because the best way to explain like my preceding actions after that, I was on some fuckboy shit, like straight up. However, before I get into like what I started doing, I feel like I should describe a little bit of my background, so that way maybe you can understand a little more why I started doing the actions that I was doing. So for instance, for me, whenever things are like big changes are happening, or like something drastically different is going to be happening, my natural reaction is to fight against it. So with that being said, this is like the beginning of sophomore year, right? We're just like a couple weeks in, and so two big things start happening to me. One thing is the fact that, so this is like 2008, the recession has been going on, you know, houses being foreclosed on and shit like that. And my dad is a roofer. So it was around this time that he had been struggling to find work, because, I mean, no one's fixing their roofs when their houses are getting foreclosed on, you know what I'm saying? So, I mean, both my parents do work. However, without my dad working for real, it was definitely putting like a big strain financially on the family. So, I mean, my dad naturally, he found another job. And the job that he was able to get was in Texas. And we live in Chicago. And he didn't want to relocate the entire family to Texas. I mean, I was in high school, my brother, and he was like in college and stuff. My sister was in college too. So like we had been living here for a really long time, so he didn't want to relocate everybody. However, he did need to be in Texas for the job. So the way it was going to be working was he would be out in Texas for several months at a time, and then for like a week, 2 weeks, couple weeks, he would come back and visit, and he would stay. And then once that was over, he would go back to Texas and he would continue to work. So it was going to be a big change. Also around this time, so when I got into high school, I kind of made it my decision that I didn't ever want to be about like drugs or drinking. And actually, I've never done any drug in my life. However, that doesn't necessarily mean my friends felt the same way. So in freshman year, a lot of my friends, they had started smoking weed and drinking. It wasn't that serious, but I mean they would do it occasionally. And then once we got to like that summer, going into sophomore year, it became more and more of a habit for them to do. To the point where when we got to sophomore year, it was damn near daily, like smoking and getting high. And then they would go to parties all the time to get fucked up, pretty much. And I could see that it was like causing like a rift between our friendship. And I'm not really talking about like all of us. It's kind of like just like I was the only one getting left out basically, because all my other friends, and these are like my core friends. Like these are my core friends since middle school. Like it's been us for years. So they had kind of like been shifting away from me because of the fact that it didn't really make sense to hang out with me if I wasn't going to be participating in what they wanted to do, basically. So I could already see that there was going to be like an expiration date on my friendship with like all my friends, basically. So that was going to be something very different too. So naturally, what I did was I tried to fight it. And seeing as I couldn't really fight the two things that were changing, what I did instead was hold on to something and try to make that become my constant in life. So it was like this. Imagine you're like in a big ass whirlpool, right? And you're just spinning around in circles. I'm kind of just getting flown everywhere, right? So now imagine there's like a big ass, like, I don't know, like stick or like pole coming or something like that coming out of the ground, out of the water, sorry. Now if you hold on to it, I mean, yeah, you're still gonna be getting flown around, but at least you're not gonna be moving. Like at least you'll stay constant in that. And with that being said, that's kind of what I did with, well, that's kind of how I decided to approach the relationship with Jessica. Like I would just have her be my constant. And even though like everything around me is changing and being different, like I still have that something to hold on to that's not gonna change. And the reason I did that was because like a relationship with Jessica, I knew exactly what I'm getting. Like there's no surprises, there's no mystery. I know whenever she's upset she's gonna break up with me. I also know that that's only gonna last so long before we get back together. Like there was gonna be no shock in that. It was just gonna be, it's something that I knew exactly what I was getting into and I could deal with it. However, with Lacey, I'd never dated somebody that had like feelings like that about prior to dating them, if that makes any sense. So that would have been something new, that would have been something different. So it kind of scared me away from it. And also because of the fact that I put so much emphasis on a relationship with Jessica being my constant in life at that time, by default it made me put a lot of energy into maintaining that. It also translated into me becoming very attached to it, which forced me to become very emotional about it. And a good example of this would be, for instance, freshman year, whenever me and Jessica would break up. I didn't really give a shit. Like, I mean, I knew she was crazy. It wasn't anything like serious, you know. But sophomore year, since I like pretty much forced myself to be crazy about her, whenever we would break up, I just, oh my man, it was so different. Like, I was so upset about it. Like, I'd get all emotional about it, and oh, it was it was so stupid. Damn, it was so stupid. So with that being the case, it ended up pushing me away from Lacey. We didn't really talk anymore. We like never hung out anymore. And then her and Jessica stopped being friends too. And then Jessica would just like talk shit about Lacey to me all the time. I don't know. I really don't know why she would always say shit to me about it. I mean, that was annoying, but I never said anything because, I mean, honestly, I was like, damn, what if I say something and she breaks up with me? I'm gonna be tripping out. So I just left it alone. But that was pretty bullshit. And I mean, it was just like everything about like the rest of that. Everything about like that whole scenario was just, everything was just so stupid. It was so annoying. And like I just went on like that for a while. And it all kind of got really crazy around New Year's Day. So like New Year's Eve, New Year's Day, my sophomore year. Damn, ooh, let's just say shit gets fucking crazy.